trying to stay grateful for all you have on a day-to-day basis is an interesting, pretty difficult concept. And I think it goes beyond like a gratitude journal. I think it goes beyond waking up in the morning and writing a few things down that you're grateful for. Although I do practice that with my kids. This is a tip. Welcome to Loans Elevated, the podcast that brings you the latest industry news, expert interviews, and insightful discussions that will help you stay ahead in this dynamic market. I'm your host, Brock Lassick, and I've spent years in the trenches of the mortgage industry, helping individuals and businesses navigate the complex landscape of real estate financing.
I'm your co-host, TJ Heidenreich, and together we'll cover a wide range of topics, from business strategies that skyrocket your success to mindset and motivation that fuel your growth.
Okay, welcome back to the Loans Elevated podcast, and today TJ and I are talking about a mindset topic, which is abundance versus scarcity mindset. So in the research, we were trying to figure out how to even talk about this. And we thought it might be good to just define these two mindsets that we found on AI. So scarcity mindset is the mindset rooted in fear and limitation. It's the belief that resources like money, success, love, etc. are finite. With scarcity thinking, every opportunity for someone else feels like a loss for you. It often leads to fear-based decisions, hoarding, and focusing on what's lacking, which can create stress, competition, and stagnation. That's interesting. And I'm sure we all can think of times we felt that way.
What did you use for that?
ChatGPT.
Okay, cool. I used Perplexity.
Same thing?
No, different. Which is, they're along the same lines, but here's my definition. A scarcity mindset is the belief that resources are limited, leading to competition and fear of not having enough. Effects, it can lead to stress, poor decision-making, and focus on immediate needs rather than long-term goals. So
Interesting.
It just expands on one another.
Yeah, and there were a few extra details on this scarcity piece. I asked, what are common societal causes of the scarcity mindset? Number one, consumer culture. So in other words, how do you avoid falling victim to this scarcity mindset? Consumer culture. So advertising, social media, constantly highlighting what is lacking, driving us to feel that we need more to be enough. So that's an issue. Consumer culture, comparison and competition. That's something we constantly talk about. As driven people, we fall victim to that probably the worst. I would say I'm an abundant thinker for sure, but I can fall victim to the comparison game. I have to literally on a weekly basis, comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy, because I can get stuck in that cycle of comparison.
I think the age of social media has made that so easy.
Oh,
you can't. You literally look at your phone and you're wired to think comparison.
Yeah. Well, and the stupid thing is like you're comparing to what? You're comparing to often, especially on social media, things that are not even real. Yeah. Like, what was it? There was a team member who had posted something on social media. We were at like a team event. Do you remember this? A team member had posted something on social media, and it was something not good was going on, and they posted this picture, and it looked awesome. And it was live. Like, I saw it they tagged me in the story. I see the story, but I'm actually living the moment of the event. And I was like, this is crazy. Because as a bystander, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that is so awesome. But I was living the actual moment. I knew it was not that awesome. Mm-hmm. So like the perspective can be so misleading, I guess. Like you're thinking the best of what somebody else is experiencing and focusing on the worst of what you have.
Well, not to mention you're only seeing the highlight reel. Like, people are only going to post the best, and that wasn't 100%. Even the best.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they're going to post the most beautiful picture, the most fun that they're having, so on and so forth. Yeah. So other things, common societal causes of a scarcity mindset. Financial instability. So this kind of leads back to consumer culture. Are you keeping up with the Joneses? Are you comparing and attempting to acquire this happiness or a joyful life, which is leading to financial hardship, which is further inducing this scarcity mindset? Like, it's kind of interesting how they build upon each other. Pressure for achievement. So this can oftentimes come from, leaders in your life, whether it's, influencers you follow or parents or grandparents or whatever, pressures for achievement. And of course, the big one, which we talk about a lot in mortgage, is media narratives. Like, you are fed a bunch of information that on the surface causes very ill-sighted effects mentally. And if you dive into the actual information beyond the clickbait, it's really not what it's cracked up to be. So anyway, scarcity mindset, that's what that is. Now we can dive into abundance mindset. We probably all know what this is, but there's some interesting nuances here. So the abundance mindset believes there's enough for everyone and that opportunities continually appear. It's a lens of possibility where challenges are seen as stepping stones. People with this mindset are open, collaborative, and generous, focusing on growth, potential, and gratitude. Abundance leads to resilience, creativity, and a sense of fulfillment. What does yours say?
Very, very similar. It says abundance mindset definition. An abundance mindset is the belief that there are enough resources for everyone, fostering collaboration and growth. Benefits. Encourages sharing, creativity, and a focus on personal and collective growth. I would say when you're in an abundance mindset, it just feels like everything's going right for you and so many more pathways and doors open rather than the other way around.
Here's the interesting thing I think about, though, with what you just said. You said when you're in an abundance mindset, everything feels like it's going right for you. But is it actually the belief and conscious thought process of everything is happening for me, not to me, that evolves in, like, it's cart before the horse, chicken and egg type situation?
Yep,
like, what causes what? Because I commonly find that if I can catch myself, which is interesting. So I asked AI as well, how do you transition into an abundant mindset versus a scarcity mindset? Because the fact is, even if you're a strong-willed person, I think there's a common time, like everyone is going to be put into a scarcity mindset at some point, even though your default mode might be more abundant. So it's like, how do you transition out of that? And the first thing that was awareness. And it's like, are you aware of...
Recognize the scarcity thoughts and challenge them.
Exactly. And are you aware of what you're thinking? And is it the forethoughts that lead to the overarching abundant mindset?
And what triggers them.
Yeah, for sure. Which is interesting. It's something I think about a lot. I was thinking, as we were talking, one thing, like, I've been a very money-driven person my whole life. But for a long time, I was like, we were actually talking about this when we went on our walk. I was racing to the finish line, feeling like, I mean, time is finite. That's the interesting part. But feeling like I had to get to the finish line and get all the money and get it all. And so I was hoarding. And that's one of the signs. I don't know if we said that, but that's one of the signs of scarcity is you're hoarding. You feel like you have to hold on to it. And I was trying so hard to earn and so hard to save and sacrificing so much. Now, it's a little bit of a dichotomy because you do have to sacrifice and you do have to do some of these things. But if you overdo it, yeah, exactly. If you overdo it, but if you would just loosen up, well, money starts to come easier. Why? I don't know. Maybe you're just more peaceful, better to be around.
Easier to talk to.
Yeah, less greedy and hungry for it. I don't know. It's interesting. So awareness, I think of that. That's something that I feel like I do a good job at, is stay aware of what behaviors are serving me versus are not serving me.
Oh, for sure. Another tactic is gratitude. Focus on what you have rather than what's lacking. I find that when I'm in a scarcity mindset, I have more of a victim mentality. Like, why me? Why can't I be doing this? It's a lot of whys rather than, oh, here's what I've done in the past. Here's how much I've grown since then. And here's what doors are open.
That brings up, there's a good book called The Gap and the Gain by Benjamin Hardy. And I think there's a co-author too. But anyway, that's a really good one about that. But I agree. Like, I think about when I'm with the family, like I'm out, I'm camping or we're on vacation or something, like it's easy for me in those moments, obviously, to be so grateful for, like, wow, look at, like, I get this time with my kids and I'm in this beautiful place and look at the sunset and look, and I'm pretty, like, I just love visual, like, I just love a pretty view and like quality time with my family and stuff. So I can easily get grateful and be in a very abundant mindset and not worried about, like, oh, I need more, I need to save more, I want to get this car, or I want to upgrade to this or what, like, I get stuck in that stuff when I don't even know what it is that causes that. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
like,
I totally. I have the same feelings. Yeah.
So trying to stay grateful for all you have on a day-to-day basis is an interesting, pretty difficult concept. And I think it goes beyond like a gratitude journal. I think it goes beyond waking up in the morning and writing a few things down that you're grateful for. Although I do practice that with my kids. This is a tip for you all. I take my boys to school every morning, and every morning we do either gratitudes or affirmations or prayer to get ourselves in a positive, abundant mindset. And that's something that we focus on. But it's like, how do you avoid falling victim to that? And I think it goes back to some of the other stuff, like stop comparing, stop stacking up all the things that you don't have, and recognize what you do have, because life is just so much more peaceful that way, which is interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
What came next? This is actually really good. And I feel like I've been a culprit of this and a victim of this, meaning I have not done this towards people, and I've also had people not do this to me, which is celebrating others' success.
Oh, for sure.
And that's crazy. I mean, I think I generally am like cheering people on constantly, but it does suck. Like, as I've been driven to create more success, even recently, honestly, over the past like year, I've had people that I thought were cheerleaders for me in my life. I've had those people behind my back. Then, of course, everything comes through the grapevine and you figure it out. But behind my back,
they're naysayers.
Yeah, be wishing for my demise as opposed to celebrating my success. I mean, that is a sad thing. Just because somebody's finding success doesn't mean that you can't
drag them down.
And you can't find just as much or more. I mean, there is so much
obviously
opportunity.
That someone is doing something right, and you should follow their coattails rather than trying to drag them down.
100%. Or study. What are they doing? How are like that's one thing I've been obsessed with lately, is studying Elon Musk, studying Jordan Peterson. These are and other people that they are commonly. There's another dude, Chris Wilkinson. I mean, he's a young stud that runs a big podcast, and these are people that I'm like, they're finding mega success, and they have success beyond just finances. They have success in like life and relationships and expansion of their being and expansion of like they're so curious and they're so aware of so many things. Like, I'm jealous of that. So I'm focusing on studying those people. And it's like, what are they doing? How did they accomplish this? What's their story? Like, how do they speak? How do they engage in these conversations?
Right.
Because that's what I want. I'm not like annoyed that they have this and we have this podcast that doesn't get that many listens. not Rogan style.
Yeah. Same magnitude.
I don't focus
Well,
on
it goes
that
back to the you are like the 5 people you hang out with.
Yeah.
Like you turn into. So if you're hanging out with people that tend to be pessimistic or have a scarcity mindset, of course you're going to find yourself having that same scarcity mindset. Whereas you associate yourself with people that have a abundance mindset, you're going to see the same thing, but also what you consume. If you're consuming the cool stuff like the Elon Musks of the world, you're going to start to think that same way.
That's what I was just going to say. You know, we are so lucky. Talk about abundance mindset. I just caught myself being in an abundant mindset, which is pretty cool, actually, just live. But we are so lucky to be alive in this time, in this day and age, with all the digital media that we have access to, which can be to our demise, right? We said scarcity mindset is the comparison, and that all starts with social media. But if you use it as an empowering tool, the people I can be surrounded by are these the Ed Miletts and the Elon Musks and all these big thinkers.
The biggest thinkers in the world.
Yeah, the most successful, biggest thinkers in the world. I get to be surrounded by them.
You couldn't do that 10 years ago.
No, you couldn't. And it's very difficult. Like, I've always strived to find that type of environment, like, locally. You can't. It's hard to find big, driven people that share your values. So you almost have to pick and choose, like, what lane of abundance am I searching for now? Because there are certain people that are wildly financially abundant, but they are divorced or don't, have no relationship with their kids, and they're missing some other value, which to me, I'm unwilling to sacrifice that. So it's hard to find a local group that you can surround yourself by and be abundant together. But in this day and age, it's so easy to find that.
Which is so, I mean, goes full circle. Social media can be a bad thing with comparing yourself, but then also can be a great thing with how much information we have available to us. I remember in college, I wasn't surrounded with a lot of people that were very abundant or that I was like, and I struggled. It led me into a depression. but I found The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Actually, I think you sent me the book.
Yeah.
And I listened to the audiobook as well. And it was the same type of thing. It shifted my mindset from a scarcity to a compound, I would say, compound mindset, and changed the whole trajectory of my career, my education, and what I was looking to do without having a group around me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like Darren Hardy at that moment became one of those people that influenced you, and that's the cool thing if you really focus on it. And as opposed to reading books as a virtue signal of look how many books I read, you know, I'm like a CEO. It's like some of that stuff is so dumb, and people miss the point. But that's the comparison. That's the scarcity coming out, which is brutal. But in that book, there's a cool graphic, which if y'all haven't read that book, it's very good. But there's a cool graphic that says it literally just takes subtle shift, like a shift so subtle you can't even see it today or next week or next month or next year or maybe even 5 years down the road. But you fast forward 10, 15 years down the road, this is why this matters, because suddenly you are literally miles and miles apart. Like
I think one of the examples he uses in the book is someone's trying to lose weight and they quit eating the samples at Costco, which they went to every single week. And he did some calculation on the amount of calories they saved in a matter of 10 years, and it was outrageous, the amount of weight that you could potentially lose.
It was just a stupid little thing. And like, what is it? If a plane flew 1 degree apart from LA to NYC, this is crazy. It's 1 degree apart if an airplane, this is a graphic that he shares as well. So if they were 1 degree apart, only 1 degree, I mean, 1 degree, you can't even freaking see 1 degree. Yeah. Like you can't even tell. And you would be 43 miles off course. So they would be 86 miles apart with 1 degree. That's insane.
Crazy. Yeah, for sure.
It's wild. Anything else that you would close with?
I just think, it starts with awareness. If you start to find what triggers you to go into a scarcity mindset and make those corrections.
And focus on gratitude, focus on being present, focus on being aware. That's where the meditation, the gratitude, all this stuff that oftentimes is viewed as cheesy comes in, because it's like you need to be focused on that stuff and be present enough to start making changes and make those shifts. So anyway, hope this was helpful. We thought it was pretty cool to research. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you for tuning in. For more industry insights, follow us on all platforms at Loans Elevated.
And to get in touch with our team, call or text 801-713-4000 or visit loanselevated.com.